Hey everyone, I'm Leslie. Welcome to my channel. Today's project is going to be how to take a Dollar Tree canvas or any canvas you have and turn it into something that looks like it's 100 years old. The reason for this little canvas project is I'm going to be using it in a display on a Pinterest project I have going. I'm going to be using this IOD florography. This is a paint inlay. These are absolutely gorgeous and it fit perfect on this 5x7 canvas. First thing I'm going to do is give the canvas 2 coats of gesso. I want to seal in that canvas, and I don't want the texture in the canvas to show, and this helps seal it. Okay, once my canvas was dry, I'm going to take, before I remove any staples or anything, while the canvas board is secure, I'm going to add those little nails. They're actually called cut tacks. First thing I'm going to do is measure out and put a little mark where I want each tack to go. Then I'm going to take my drill bit and I'm going to drill a pilot hole for these nails. Now here, this little bit, I was going to drill the pilot hole and then hammer in the nail. But the wood on these little canvases is a lot tougher than you think. Okay, I just went around the board and drilled a pilot hole where I wanted my tacks. And this is a picture, close-up of the tack. It has kind of a flat head on it, and they look vintage. So I'm just going to take my hammer and nail it in, or so I thought. And it did not work because I would had to hammer too hard and I didn't want to bust it up. So what I did was I made a bigger pilot hole and the nail went all the way through. So I took my wire clippers and cut off part of the tip of the little nail. And because the pilot hole was bigger, I ended up having to put just a little drop of super glue, and then I put the nail in on that. Once the nails were secure, I turned it over, removed the staples, and cut around the edge and roughed up the edges. Now I'm going to be taking my DIY clay-based paint in the color Tarnished Pearl, and I'm going to give the canvas probably 2 coats. Around the edge, I go real thick and go around the nails. Once my second coat is on and I put it on real thick, I spray my paint inlay and I'm going to place it down on the canvas. I spritz it with water and take a paper towel and kind of dab off the excess water and make sure it's smoothed down as much as possible. Get the air bubbles and wrinkles out as best you can. Personally, I love the distress look, so I don't mind a few wrinkles. So here I'm taking my Dixie Belle, the patina paint in the color iron, and I'm going to go around on each little nail, and I want the nails to look rusty and crusty, like they've been on this for 100 years. So I'm going to go around and dab each little nail. And it doesn't matter. I actually put a little bit of paint from the nail onto the canvas because it looks like it has rusted and bled onto the canvas over time. With this iron patina paint, you want to let the first coat dry, and then you want to go around with a second coat. And when that paint is wet, that's when you will apply your colored spray. I use a little bit of the blue spray, and I go back with a little bit of the green spray. But the green spray is what gives it the rusty look. The blue spray gives it kind of that verdigris blue hint to it, like copper that's been tarnished. Next, I go around with my heat gun on the nail heads because that will help activate the patina paint. And as it sits there, it will continue to activate and continue to get a beautiful rusty patina. Now I'm going to spray my paint inlay and let it sit for a minute and start to remove. When I use the DIY clay-based paint, I get the absolute best results with my inlays. I slowly peel back the inlay, and if you feel any resist, lay it back down and spritz it with a little more water. I am so happy with the way this turned out. Perfect. Now I'm going to take a razor blade and I'm going to make a couple of small tears in the canvas. Where I make the tears on the edges, I'm going to rough it up and make the canvas a little bit stringy on the edges because that will help it look aged. Then I took it outside and I gave my inlay a coat of Mod Podge matte sealer. I wanted to make sure my inlay was sealed so it could not be reactivated. Once the canvas was dry, now I'm going to take a piece of sandpaper and I'm going to go around the edges and kind of just rough it up, even in some places down to the frame. Once the sanding dust was cleaned off, now I'm going to go with my glue gun in between the nails. I want to put a little dab of hot glue. I want it to be sure and be held in place. At this point, I'm just looking at it to see if there's any other things I want to do to it before I remove the staples. I kind of picked at the little cuts I made with my razor blade, and I want those to be kind of frayed. Now I'm going to be taking my Paint Couture Antiquing Glaze in both the light brown sugar and the Van Dyke brown colors. I want certain spots, especially around the tears, to be a little bit darker. All right, here on the back, to me the staples just looked too new. So I'm going to take a little bit of black paint and then I'm going to sprinkle it with cinnamon to make it look rusty. I made this little canvas print with a $1.25 Dollar Tree canvas. You can do this with any canvas, any size, and it is a fun project. Once again, thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you have any questions, please ask in the comments. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel.